You have to be like the sun. You have to get up every day. You have to rise. You have to give yourself time to rest and set. You have to rise every single morning once again. Even when you're tired, even when it's snowing, even when it's raining, even when you don't feel like it, even when it feels like the world is crumbling around you, there are so many people who depend on you. You are the sun. You are the person who needs to show up every single day and shine. That is literally all you ever have to do in this life is show up and shine. That is literally all that will ever be asked of you is to show up and shine like you know you can. And if you're finding a place where it's like, well, it's really difficult for me to show up, you're not supposed to be there. It's really difficult for me to shine, you're not supposed to be there. Your only responsibility ever in this world is to show up and shine. And to show up and shine, that means that you have to prioritize yourself. Because you can't show up and shine if you're not happy. You can't show up and shine if you're not doing something that is a passion in your life. You can't show up and shine if you're doing something that like it doesn't bring you joy, doesn't bring you peace, doesn't bring you safety, doesn't bring you a sense of like accomplishment. You have to show up and you have to shine and you have to be like the sun. The sun is not the brightest star in our galaxy. The sun is not the biggest star. The sun is not like the craziest star. Like the sun is where it's supposed to be. It's has the 9 planets, 8. Like, I don't know what we did with Pluto. Like, what do we do with Pluto, girl? It has the planets orbiting around it because it's where it's supposed to be. And all the sun has to do is show up and shine. That's a tongue twister. Show up and shine. All you have to do is show up and shine. And it seems difficult because you're not where you're supposed to be right now. You're like way far off on the other side of the galaxy, and you have a lot of work to do to get to the galaxy and to the point, to the place where you're supposed to be, right? Oh my god! Every single time I get so irritated because I feel like I'm literally creating these like crazy ass gifs of like, like the Miss Mulan. We can't call her that. We cannot call her that on Beyonce's internet. But it's really just as simple as showing up and shining. And when I think back in my life, and I think about the lowest points in my life, of which there are many, I wasn't showing up every day, and I wasn't given the opportunity to shine. But when I think about the highest moments of my life, I think about those moments where I was given the opportunity to shine, and that just made me want to show up. Because I felt noticed, I felt validated, I felt seen, I felt valued, I felt like I was on top of the world, and that just makes you want to show up. When you're doing the things that are really in your heart, when you're doing the things that are really in your spirit, when you're doing the things that you really feel called to do, you're gonna want to show up. There's this idea that there's this like formula to success. In many ways there are, but everyone has to put their own like pinch. It's like a recipe. Like, sure, I can make like scrambled eggs that like a lot of people like. But there are some people who like flat eggs. There are some people who like them sunny side up. There are some people who don't like eggs at all. It's about recipe, right? You have to put your own twist on it. Do you like your scrambled eggs with cheese? Do you put sour cream in your scrambled eggs? Do you use whole milk? Do you use 2%? Do you use skim? Do you use water? Do you use a nonstick pan? Do you like make frittatas? Find your thing, the thing that like, oh, when I think of that, that makes me like light up. When I think of that, that makes me want to shine. That makes me want to do things. Even think about like the terminology and the wording of these phrases. Go to places where you light up the room. Go to places where people can feel your warmth. Go to places which you like bring a light into the situation that make you feel light. These are all terms that like are closely associated with like what we perceive as the sun. This idea of warmth and light and even like proximity, and like there's a sense of like duty aligned with you showing up because we don't really have a purpose in life. Our purpose in life is to live. Our purpose in life is to laugh. Our purpose in life is to love. And the only way we can do those things is by showing up and shining. If you're depressed, if you're sad, if you're working a job that you don't like, you're not going to laugh. If you're surrounded by people who make you feel lesser than, people who make you feel, you can be easily discarded, you're not going to feel loved. And you can't live if you're not laughing or not loving. What's the point of living, right? That's just like existing. You weren't put here to exist. Girl. You're watching this video, which means you won the sperm race. Oop. Do you realize, like, how amazing that is? How lucky you are to be sitting here right freaking now? Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how insane that is? That you won the race? That your little swimmer is the one who impregnated the egg and like came to full gestation and like was this like a big belly in your mom and like you pushed her out and like, well, she pushed you out. or they pushed you out. Anybody can have a baby these days. That's a good thing though. Pregnant people. And they pushed you out, and now you're here watching this video, wondering what the are you doing with your life? Your life is ultimately in your control. You are the one who has to show up and shine every day. No one is like it's not like Chowder, like that old cartoon. No one's like cranking the sun up every morning. The sun is doing this because the sun knows this is what this has to do. The sun knows that it has to show up and like it has to bring its light into the world because no one else will. If the sun didn't rise every morning, girl, what do we do? Crops depend on the sun. Our power, like our energy sources, depend on the sun. Our literal like physiological beings depend on the sun. Vitamin C, we get that from the sun. We have to go outside. We have to like warm our bodies and like regulate our bodies through the sun. All of this is so effing important, and it's something that we really have to be cognizant of and like take note of. All the answers to the world that we could ever want, that we could ever search for, literally exists out there in nature. When you look at the sun, and I'm like by my window, so like the sun's shining on me, and I'm like feeling its rays literally in this moment. When you look at the sun, you should think, oh my God, I'm not alone. Oh my God, I will never be alone. There are so many other people looking at the sun right now. There are so many other people benefiting from the sun right now. There are so many other people who are seeing this. There are so many other people who are waiting for this. There are so many other people who are literally waiting for this moment for the sun to hit their ray, for the sun's rays to hit them and to feel the warmth of the sun. That is amazing. The sun unites us all. The sun is the reason that we're like one big community, right? As a humanity. The sun shows up and shines every day regardless. Right now, I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Ohio, Cincinnati in particular. So there's a lot of snow. We have like a whole like blizzard, snowstorm, crazy ass shit thing. I hate it. I shouldn't hate it. Who cares? Like it's snow. That's the point though. The sun shows up whether it's 8 inches of snow or 0 inches of snow, right? The sun just has to show up and shine, and everything will work out in the end. There will come a day when the most beautiful flowers I have ever seen sprout in my yard because of the sun. There is going to be a day when the trees get taller, and I notice that, and they have these new, brand new green leaves. That's because of the sun. That's because the sun showed up and shined every single day. And that is exactly what you need to be doing. If you want to see change in your life, positive change in your life, if you want to see everything you've been dreaming of come to fruition, you have to show up and you have to shine. And it doesn't matter if it's cloudy, because even the sun gets cloudy sometimes, right? That doesn't stop the sun from shining. It finds a way. It gets that ray through. It gets just enough sunlight for the day. Sometimes the sun can't shine. Sometimes the sun can't shine as brightly as it can on other days, but it still shows up and it still shines to the best of its ability. And that's all you ever have to ask of yourself. Stop asking of yourself to be perfect. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Stop waiting for that cloudless day to show up and shine. Stop waiting for there to be no snow on the ground for you to show up and shine. I really need to I need to think of a different word because it's like really Shana Bean. It's like really messing me up. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Stop waiting for everything to like feel like it's aligned. It's never gonna be perfect, boo. It's never gonna be what you want it to be. It's never gonna be that. But that does not mean that you don't have the power intrinsically within you to do the work. Because it doesn't mean that someday it won't be perfect. That someday you won't wake up and say, "Oh my gosh, like everything I've ever dreamed of has happened." I grew up in a really abusive home. I grew up in a really chaotic home, and all my life I ever wanted was my own space. I just wanted my own place. I'm getting like goosebumps thinking about it. All I ever wanted was my own space to be safe, to express myself, to feel like no one could ever hurt me, and I'm literally sitting in that space right now. And that's literally because I took the words of showing up and shining so hard. I showed up to work every day and I shined as hard as I could, even on the days where it was rough, even on the days where my home life was chaotic and I felt like shit. I showed up and I went to school. I got my college degree, even when it was tough, even when I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay for the semester. No one wants to help me. Everything's a fucking struggle. My hobbies of like ballet and musical theater, singing, even when I was like, I'm a shit singer, even when I was like, I can't get my leg as high as that person, even when I was like, I'm fat, like nobody wants to see me dance, I still showed up and I shined to the best of my ability, and it's gotten me to where I am today. So if I can do it, you can do it. If this little black bitch from the Midwest who came from like the craziest home situation can do it, so can you. And more importantly, the world needs you to. Somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to feel the warmth of you shining at your brightest. Somebody needs to know that, wow, if they can do it, if they can get knocked down 99 times and get back up 100, girl, I can get knocked back down and get right back up too. I don't care if my knees crack. I don't care if my back aches. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. Get up and do it. Get up! Get up and do it. That is literally all you ever have to do in this life is get up and do it. Show up and shine. The world needs you to show up and shine. If you don't, who will? If you don't tell your story, who will? If you don't share your experiences, who will? If you don't learn from your experiences and do something great with it, who will? If you don't inspire yourself to show up every day, who will? If you don't shine your brightest, who will? If you can't do it for yourself, who else can you do it for? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? If you can't laugh at yourself, how in the hell are you going to laugh at somebody else? If you can't live for yourself, how in the hell are you going to live for somebody else? You really have to go out there and you have to do it. You got to do it. You got to be like Nike. Just do it. Okay, it won't be perfect. Okay, it'll be cloudy. Okay, all the snow's not going to melt like in one day. Okay, that's okay. It's fine. But if you keep showing up and you keep shining, the snow's going to melt. Those clouds are going to part and it's going to be the beautiful sunny day. There's going to be a sunset of pinks and oranges and purples and blues and all these gorgeous hues that somebody's going to like post on their Instagram and be like, this is the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. They're going to be talking about you, girl, because you decided to show up and shine. Because you decided that you were worth it. That putting in the effort was worth it. That someday trying was going to get you to exactly where you wanted to be. Exactly where you needed to be, honestly. It's past want at this point. This is about getting to where you need to be. You need to make that money. You need to get that job. You need to get that promotion. You need to find that partner. You need to find that community. You need to start that hobby. You need to start that YouTube channel. You need to start that business. You need to do that startup. You need to talk to this person. You need to write that book. You need to edit that movie. You need to do these things. You need to put on the makeup. You need to go to that audition. You need to contact that agent. These are things you have to do. It's not about want anymore. It's about need. It's about you having to show up and shine. Because at the end of the day, that is what you were put on this earth for. You asked to be here. Whether we know it or not, some cosmic energy, we asked to be here. Our soul, our spirit, our mind, our body, whatever, all came together in the most like immaculate way because we needed this. Because we said our story needs to be told. We said our experiences needed to be shared. There's something so great that I can put out into the world that I have to do it. So go out and do it. Show up and shine. That is the only way you're ever going to get what you're asking for. That is the only way you're ever going to be where you need to be. I wish I was funnier. I wish that I had like more jokes or more like puns or something to share with this, but like this ain't no laughing matter. This is like serious. Like the world needs you. The world seriously needs you. And you're being so selfish by hiding, by thinking you're not worthy, by thinking you don't deserve everything you imagine. It's in your heart for a reason. You're thinking of it for a reason. You're imagining it for a reason. You're like manifesting it and all this stuff for a reason. So go out and do it. Only person who can ever tell you no is you. No one has the power to stop this sun from showing up and shining every morning, no matter how hard they try, no matter how many clouds they put in its place, no matter how many skyscrapers we build, how many tall ass buildings we build, how many trees we grow to the fucking sky. No one can stop this sun from showing up and doing what it knows it was put here to do. It knows it was positioned in this galaxy for a particular reason, and that was to show up and shine every single morning. How are you any different? How are you any different than that sun? How are you any less capable? How are you any less deserving, any less worthy? Get out there, go and do it. It has to be you. It needs to be you. Child, that was a sermon. Okay, that was a video. That was el video. That was a lot. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, share it with a friend, subscribe, do whatever feels right in your spirit. I appreciate you so much for watching. And if no one else has told you this today, I believe in you, and I know for a fact, because the sun told me so, that your dream is going to come true. Not your dream, your dreams are going to come true. All right? Thank you so much. I'll see you next time, friend. Bye.